So my name is Q Nicole Vanderhorst. I'm the CEO and founder of WH Farms Co. Growing up in North Carolina, I always was told that cannabis was like the devil's lettuce. I do consider myself a disruptor. My mom, in her lifetime, she has a son who's still serving a federal sentence as a result of cannabis possession, and a daughter who is a CEO of a cannabis startup. My mother and my brother were a part of the rhetoric that called a certain population of an urban community superpredators. So my mom had a lot of hysteria. I was a participant in the D.A.R.E program. I actually was like the leader of D.A.R.E. The whole Nancy Reagan piece, this is your brain on drugs. Like, I am of that generation. I was actually opposed to smoking initially, but then I endured the grief of losing a parent. Where I was in that time was just a very, very dark place. I actually stopped driving for 2 years because I attempted suicide behind the wheel. So the anxiety plus the grief kind of put me in a place where I was really crippled, and I lived long enough to see that I wasn't interested in a pill. But my friends who had experienced cannabis just kept saying like, oh, you just need to get high. You just need to knock the edge off. So I kind of opened myself up to, well, plant medicine is plant medicine. Let's consider cannabis. At the time I lived in Maryland, it was a legal state. I actively put my life back together with cannabis. I just lived in Washington, D.C. for 20 years in commercial real estate. That was my previous career. When I moved back to the state, we started working on a few construction projects, but why not renovate a farm? WH Farms Co. was started in 2020 during the pandemic. We are a seed-to-shelf CBD cultivation and manufacturing operation, and we provide businesses with the opportunity to launch or expand their CBD product line through our white labeling products. There are a number of small businesses who really suffered during the pandemic, and so with the CBD that our farm produced from our industrial hemp, we felt that providing white label product will give them an opportunity to launch or expand a CBD product line. We are not in a recreational or medicinally legal state for marijuana, but I was very pleased to see them remove hemp as a classified drug in 2018 through the Farm Bill. That gave many of us an opportunity to start really dissecting the plant, stepping into the industry, building out infrastructure, and being in position as the industry continues to grow. We're in Beaufort County, North Carolina. We cultivate on African American and Tuscaroran legacy farmland. Tuscarora means hemp gatherer. And so prior to English settlement, the Tuscarorans actually cultivated hemp and exported it globally. We still have some of the nuances with banks and merchant processors and advertising limitations, but we also have the benefits of shipping nationwide, crossing state lines, and even shipping internationally, which is one of the reasons why we delved into the industry this way. But we understand how confusing this plant can be for our community. And so when we are able to bring forth our brand story and talk about how this legacy farmland that's been owned by the family for over 100 years is now a place where we are cultivating hemp yet again and using this hemp to provide therapeutic benefits through lifestyle products and lifestyle goods, I think is a really dope, it's a dope story. We're really excited about what we're able to do. In North Carolina today is still very polarized. There's a high level of misinformation, and that misinformation is in the hands of decision makers. I remember we went to a North Carolina-based bank that focuses on agriculture. And this bank within 3 days told me to come and pick up our check. They said that because we sold gummies, they wanted to go with the FDA's recommendation about gummies being illegal. And first of all, our gummies don't have THC. And secondly, the FDA never said that. To know that we're not able to bank freely because of assumptions and not facts becomes a challenge. Being able to see other professionals from around the country is super important. I also think that organizations like MJ BizCon do a phenomenal job at keeping those of us who are invested in this industry aware of where the industry stands and some of the nuances that need to be faced. And so it's not on the news, it's not on the internet, it's in the meetings, it's in the rooms, it's being next to the people who are making the decisions or who are lobbying to the politicians. When I returned to North Carolina, a number of my elderly family members due to age and illnesses or surgeries, have become addicted to prescription medication. What pained me about that is how many of them were afraid of cannabis, but they were super, super open to prescriptions. And so many of the nurses who work with us, they share that they would rather prescribe cannabis, which helps with well-being, versus other medications that trigger other things that then require other medications. We find a lot of moms, a lot of wives are very excited about coming out of the closet with their cannabis usage and saying, you know, this is actually how I manage all of this. I mean, 20 years ago, if you consumed the devil's lettuce as a mom, the authorities to knock on your door and try to remove the child from the home. If I were to go back and talk to myself as a sixth grader in the D.A.R.E program, I would say to not believe everything that you read. As passionate as you were on that stage in the sixth grade about drugs being bad, you are as passionate today about how this isn't a drug, it's a medicine, it's a plant, it's an herb, and it's something that we should be able to freely consume. I would say to my brother, they coped the best way that they knew how. I get it, I understand. My dad was always a rebel, really, really tough. I think that that's what you need for this industry. You have to have grit, you have to be tough. And my dad gave me that. He gave me the confidence to go against the wind and to continue to fight. And when you are able to help people live a better quality life, like that's the most rewarding thing in life that you can do.